Hey guys, Alex here with Heckman Productions, and welcome to episode 2 of my Road to Anaheim 1 series here in MX Simulator. This episode is going to be a onboard analysis of a fun race I did at the 2021 Fall SS Cup Round 6 in Cairo, Georgia. That's being run on MXS Lobby. It's a pretty fun series that they're running, and I was grateful I was able to participate in this. This is the first race that I had done in a very, very long time, at least on Supercross. So we'll go ahead and analyze this and see what I did, what I feel like I should have done differently. You can see I actually got a pretty decent start, but then I kept on banging around people. It was like playing pinball. I was like a pinball in this first lap or so. And in the first couple laps of these races, it's kind of just about how you end up. You need to get lucky to work your way through people. And that's kind of what I did here. This was super sketchy. As I jumped by my teammate, I ended up like landing on somebody. It was very sketchy there, and at this point I was like, alright, it is time to calm the heck down and try to settle in. So that's what I did. We were able to at least calm down a little bit, and I didn't have a ton of practice on this track, and I also was racing a 450 as well. Oh, there goes Ethan by as I slide out, get passed by a couple people. So I didn't have a ton of practice on the track, and going back and forth from a 250 to a 450 was throwing me for a loop as well. So this is a 15-minute race, so I knew it was going to take some time to kind of work its way out and let everybody separate. And still the first lap, so I'm kind of waiting for people to crash and the chaos to happen and try to capitalize on that. See, I don't go for a triple on there as I was trying to avoid crashing. Like I said, I wasn't super familiar with the rhythms yet. And this was still while I was using my old setup. That was really lucky right there. I talked about in my first episode that I've been running a new setup. This was with the old setup, so it's still kind of loose, which is kind of what I was trying to change with the new one, is gain some stability. That rhythm section was really tough, especially as the track started getting rougher. The track was super fun though. I thought it had a good flow. It had some difficult rhythm sections, stuff that you actually had to check out for to clear good, as Ethan goes flying over the berm there. He's definitely focusing on 450s this season, so was not doing great. Oh yeah, I remember that. I collided with a guy because I didn't realize he was there, and I ended up cross jumping him a little bit. So I went back to what, 8th I should be, or 9th. Yeah, I'm in 9th. So kind of a rough first couple laps actually, but I was still able to stay in the top 10, which granted, this is a fun race, so it's not going to have the same depth as a professional race factory race, but I was still pretty happy with managing to still be in the top 10 after that chaotic first couple of laps. So when I'm behind someone like this, I'm more trying to focus on keeping my distance from them in a way so I don't get caught up in their mistakes. If I'm right next to them or right behind them, I don't want to take the same line as them. And it doesn't always work out, and you end up getting caught up with them. But like you can see, he cased here, and I was trying to jump to the inside. Ended up getting into him just a little bit, but made the pass stick, and he didn't go down either. So at this point I actually had two guys like right on my bumper, but I wasn't trying to pay attention to them. I was just trying to hit my lines. You see I cased a little bit, so I decided to go on off, and that triple was huge, so I just doubled and then like quadded into the corner here. You see that guy quad in front of me. That was something I was afraid to do in the race, just because I tried it a couple times in practice and it did not work out whatsoever. So I was like, I'm not going to do that in the race. But putting together a decent lap on this one, just trying to stay smooth and keep up with the guys in front of me. That Supercross triple is actually rather big. You couldn't really scrub it, you kind of had to seat bounce, and then you can throw a little flick, but you couldn't like throw a proper scrub over it. It's kind of cool. It actually, you needed to hit the corner good to actually be able to make it over. So at this point, if you look at the map, you can see the leader, and basically the top 3 were gone at this point. They checked out right from the beginning were able to stay out of the chaos. And you can see 4th place was quite a bit a ways from the podium. So, oh, there's another position. I could not seem to get this rhythm right consistently. I kept on messing it up and getting close to people. But it was challenging because if you hit it perfect, you could do a giant line in that section. But if you didn't, you were in trouble because you had to double through. Especially on a 250, you really couldn't get a triple going again. You can hear someone on my inside here. Yep. I think I stayed in front of him here though. As I quad over and then triple. And here I was trying to jump to the inside line, but didn't quite judge it right because I didn't want to follow this guy. But it worked out alright because he ended up not crashing, of course. So at this point I was starting to feel pretty comfy. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that. I think somebody coming from the other direction, one of the leaders, came into the other lane and killed the guy in front of me. You see here I didn't get a good line through the corner, so I had to double the triple and then kind of use it into the next rhythm section. And at this point, it's up to the top 5, and I was pretty impressed. I was like, I didn't expect to be doing this good, you know? Like I wanted to do good, but I didn't expect to do good, you know, because it was my first race in quite some time. And at this point, I still wasn't too certain about where I was going to finish, because in the heat race, I kind of choked it at the end, so I was just trying not to do that again. And that's another one of the things I'm trying to avoid doing in Supercross in 2022 is choking away a good position, because it seems to happen to me way too often, and it's really frustrating. You know, you get a good start or you're in a good position and then you just slide out or make some silly mistake. So it's kind of another reason why I modified my setup a little bit to try to get some more stability out of it. It's just a simple adjustment that actually Ethan suggested I do, but it actually has helped quite a bit, and I've been able to notice that I'm not knifing it as much and I'm not washing out as much. So you can see how twitchy my bike is in this race. It's just because it's too loose. I've always had a really loose advanced stability, and it actually just kind of works against you in some points. So at this point in the race, I'm just still focusing on hitting my lines, not crashing. And so far the bike hadn't really done anything that I didn't expect it to. Like, it was behaving pretty normally for me, and I was hitting all my lines the way I wanted to. And when you're in a higher position like this, or at least when I am, as I make a little mistake there, get into the tough blocks. I almost went over the bars there because I hadn't actually rolled the finish line before, so I didn't know how that was going to handle. But when I'm in a higher position like this, I try to do everything I can to avoid looking at the map. Because if I'm going to look at the map, I'm going to look right behind me and see how close the people are. And if they're really close, like they happen to be right now, it would kind of freak me out and I'd get nervous and probably make a mistake. So my strategy when I'm doing good is just to try to avoid looking at the map altogether. The only times I really look at the map is when I crash and I need to get back on the track, so I can see if somebody's coming, and I try to avoid hitting them, because then you get banned and have to take a weekend off. So a guy went down on the outside there, and I got up to 4th, and then you can see 30 seconds behind 3rd place. So the top 3, 20, he must have went down in there. But still, the top 3 were so far gone, I don't think they ever, I don't think the guy in 3rd place was ever worse than 3rd. And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. So you can see I have a line of about 3 guys that are pretty close behind me, and then another guy a little ways back there. And at this point the track is starting to get a little rough, and we're getting close to about how long actually we're probably past the heat race length now. So the track's getting rougher than I had seen it yet, and this is when I kind of started thinking about, do I need to adjust the lines I'm taking and avoid some of the rougher spots just because it might kick you. You can see the halfway mark was there. So this corner was actually getting really awesome to where you could just lay it in there. And the exit had a couple bumps on it, but it didn't really seem to bother me too much. In case that double there. The whoops also didn't get super chewed up, so we're still able to hit pretty much the same line and the same gear. This section, I wanted to go over that table and then like double over the dragons and then double into the corner, but ended up working out to where I overjumped that double in almost every lap, so I pretty much always ended up going on and then like triple, single into the corner. So you got a lapper kind of crossing all over. Almost hit him there. That's another thing that freaks me out when I'm racing and I'm up front doing good is the lappers, because some of them are really good about getting out of the way. As you can see here, I took this inside line because that outside was starting to get chewed up and I didn't want to risk getting kicked. So I started taking this line, and it was not really any slower, maybe a little slower, but it was more consistent and I didn't have to worry about getting kicked because of a road, because not as many people were taking that line. Anyways, as I was saying about lappers, they kind of freak me out in races like this where I'm doing decent, because some of them are great and they move right out of the way and it's easy to tell where they're going, but other ones, they don't wait until they wait until the last second to get out of your way, and you're kind of like, where are you going, guy? And they take a line that you don't expect and you end up hitting them, and they're like, I was trying to get out of your way, and that's when you say, I didn't know that. So, the sand sections were probably becoming the most challenging parts of the track. The rest of it was pretty easy. Like, it had some nice little berms in the corners, kind of. But the sand was getting chewed up with some actual braking bumps, which was neat. The last race they did right before I was recording this last week was an all sand track. And I took one look at that thing and said, nope, I am not racing that. Because I've never liked sand in this game. Like, oh, there's a little mistake there. Like, I can deal with sand sections and whatnot and get through them just fine. Oh, here I get passed for fourth because I messed up that section. But when it comes to an all sand track, I just don't have fun on it whatsoever. And I play this game to have fun, so why play something if you're not enjoying it? So at this point, I kind of had somebody to chase after and try to keep up with. So that's kind of what I was trying to do, is just keep him in sight. I can't remember who it was. I looked at it in the game, but you can see he doubled the triple here and ended up going double and then table over single, and I ended up being right on him. And when I'm right on somebody like this, it's hard not to look at them. Like, you need to still look at yourself. As we got together, I think he actually got a legs off there, which is why I got up before him. But like I was saying, when you're behind someone and they're right there, it's hard for me not to look at them and watch what they're doing while also still paying attention to me. Because if I don't pay super close attention to myself, then I'm going to make mistakes and fall as well. So it's kind of like a balancing act that you have to do between watching yourself and still keeping an eye. Oh, there's the line I want. Keeping an eye on the rider in front of you, because obviously you don't want to hit them either if they crash. So you gotta kind of watch their lines as well. It's one of the reasons why I love racing in this game so much, is it requires so much attention and focus to actually be successful. At least for me. Some people are so dang fast at the game that it doesn't matter what happens to them, they can still end up being on the podium. But that's not me. I actually have to work for my finishes. So yeah, I actually started liking this inside line. It was smoother, and I was able to hit it a little more consistent. And that quad was actually pretty easy to do, which usually isn't on a 250, so that was nice too. Another thing about this track is I liked how they built it so you didn't have to triple into every section to hit it the fastest way possible. There are other lines possible with you doubling in that didn't require you to nail the corner perfect, that were still viable fast options, and I really like that when people build the track that way. Now if you did like nail the triple in perfect, you could hit some giant lines and set super fast times, but the odds of you being able to do that consistently were pretty low, especially once the track started getting rough. So I don't know who builds these tracks, but this one was pretty spot on and well done, I thought. So we're on lap 10 here. I think it's about 13, 14 laps. See, I'm lapping Ethan here. He's always a good lapper, especially for me. And I try to repay the favor to him. He's planning on racing 450s this year, like I said. We'll see if he drops down to 250s at East. I don't think he's planning on it, but he might if he hasn't made a main event yet. I'm not saying that to be mean to him. It's just a 450 class in this game. The professional level is absolutely insane. So, see, I kind of faced into that and messed up. And Ethan went flying by me on the outside there. We actually ended up riding, well, never mind. We rode close for a corner, and then he ended up biting it. Right there, I thought I was going over the bars. That's one of the things I want to try to avoid doing. Obviously going over the bars, but like going for jumps that I don't need to when I'm not sure that I'm going to make it. So like I wasn't quite sure I was going to make that quad, but I decided to send it anyways. Whereas if I would have just checked up and done the table over single and then triple into the corner, I would have been fine. So it's just like trying to hedge my bets. Well, another thing I'm trying to work on. Oh, I'm sorry, only 11 laps. I miscalculated in my head. Coming up to the last lap, you can see I'm still 24 seconds behind third, and that never really changed. So like I said, the top three were kind of just gone the whole race. And if you look at the map, like there's a huge gap before the next rider. I don't even know if that's a lapper or not. So when I saw the white flag, I was just focused on hitting the easiest lines, ones I knew I could hit. I knew there was a guy coming behind me because I could see him when I turned the corners. I wasn't looking at the map, but I was looking like at the track. I could see him out of the corner of my eyes. So I was still trying to go fast, but my main priority was just don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. So the track, like I said, got pretty rough in the sandy sections, but the other parts of the track, the other sections actually got really sweet and it actually made the track faster. I feel like you could still set really fast times late into the main event. You can see this time I decided to do table over single and then triple into the corner, which is a good thing because there's a 0% chance I would have made that quad had I went for it. So, see, the winner turned a 1:32.3. My best time was a 1:35. So still has some speed that needed to be gained on this. Now this I checked up for because I just wasn't sure. It ended up working out to where the guy that was behind me went down. So I had a nice big gap to play with. So I was just focused on bringing it home, not crashing in this final corner. So that's what I did. I was able to come home with a 4th place in this fun race. I was pretty satisfied with that, like I said, after not racing in so long. So thank you guys so much for checking out this episode. Not sure when episode 3 will be out yet. I'm hoping to do some more fun races and hopefully maybe do some live racing as well. So thank you guys for checking it out, and we'll see you in the next video.